Hello everyone and welcome. Before we do get into this video, make sure you do subscribe if you are not already. Disclaimer here, however you make your build or however you play your build is fine. I am making this guide for people who want to know how to use Curse of the Unbidden, and for people who have not used it, or for people who are trying to get back into using Curse of the Unbidden. When you use the Curse of the Unbidden, your weapon turns deep purple and is covered in a purple aura. When you sheath your weapon turns completely invisible. The way Curse of the Unbidden works is that when you M1, you drain the ether of your target. The ether drain depends on your unscaled damage. Your critical will now be replaced with a counter. When you hit a counter, you'll gain iframes and hyper armor, and you briefly stun your opponent, as well as restoring 30% posture. When you hit your counter, the cooldown of your counter is 6 seconds, but if you fail to hit your counter's cooldown will be raised to 8 seconds. With this enchant, there is not really a recommended weapon of use here. You'll use this enchant on whatever weapon you feel good with using, and with a weapon that you know has good M1s, but the critical you could replace with, a counter. In PvP, this is a really good enchant if you know that your opponent's just gonna be parry trading. You could easily mix it up with a counter in there, and once they swing, they'll hit the counter and they'll get stunned. In PvE, I would refrain from using it because it is a bit buggy on monsters, and I don't know how this enchant will work against bosses. I doubt that it'll stun the boss and all of the world bosses and whatnot, but hey, it's a bit buggy in PvE. So overall, I would rate this enchant semi-decent. It's not really that great in PvP. You get to steal ether, but Shadow also steals ether, and if you're using your M1s to gain ether, chances are you're not really running out of ether. So yeah, it's okay. And the critical, most people would not trade their critical that does damage for a critical that will only stun for your opponent. So this is a really okay enchant. It's not really that great. Build suggestions for Curse of the Unbidden would probably be high damage builds with weapons that don't really have great crits. So something like this would probably be a Razor Cutlass or something like a Hubris Arm. Those weapons are good in M1s, but their crits aren't really that good, especially if your crit will have a really long windup. You can just replace it with an instantaneous counter that'll give you iframes on a successful hit. The way you can obtain Curse of the Unbidden is by doing layer 2, using the Deep Shore Fossil, completing H mode, or you can find this enchant on weapons in chests. This has been the Curse of the Unbidden guide. I hope you did find this guide useful. If you did, then please do like the video, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.